All right, everyone, welcome back to the DBTalks Football Podcast. And what can I say? What an amazing way to come back to the channel. I mean, what a crazy El Clásico in Saudi Arabia where Barca won the Supercopa 3-2 against Real Madrid. And they defend their Spanish Super Cup thanks to a Rafinha masterclass and a huge Lewandowski goal in the first half and the overall game. But yeah, what a game from Barcelona. To be honest, like I think we played really well in the first half, and thank God, like we were able to hold on to our lead by the end. But yeah, great performance from Rafinha. He scores a brace and the winner, deflected winner in the 73rd minute to make it 7 goals in 5 games. So just how important he's been since coming back and how important he is overall to this team. And then obviously that Lewandowski crazy finish. I think that was such a good finish from him. It's just like a striker. That's what we need for this team. If we had a younger version of Lewandowski, maybe like when he was like 30 or even like 25, I think our team would be really set. But yeah, just having a striker like him, a legendary striker, I just think he is so good in those types of moments. But I do think there were a couple of moments for Madrid to take their advantage. I think Vinny had a pretty good game. And I do think there was that late Frankie de Jong red card, which could have changed the game as well if it happened a bit earlier. But yeah, what were your thoughts, Brajesh?
I think the entire game was a very stressful and scary game. I think there's a lot of like stake at it. I think even going to the game, I think both sides, like, and also the fans from both sides were also very like, I guess kind of like nervous and also excited at the same time because it's the Spanish Cup final. It's an El Clásico, so I think there's a lot of talk going into the game, and also from the last El Clásico this season, there was like tension between the players where there was like a fight at the end of the game. So I think both sides had something like to fight for because they also wanted to back that up. And then throughout the entire game, I think it was very. I don't think it was kind of even. I think I think at the first half, I think Barca were playing to possession, but I think Madrid were also kind of scary attacking wise. So I think throughout the entire game, it felt kind of even. I don't think like one side dominated the other. I think both sides had their chances and both looked threatening at times. So yeah, I think that was something. I guess also going to the game, Barca had a pretty good Barca had a good lineup going to the game. I think with Madrid, one thing we noticed was that Mbappé was benched, and we know that Mbappé has, every El Clásico Mbappé is, not every, but Mbappé scored a lot of goals versus Barca in El Clásico. So him being benched, I think was kind of a relief of it because he's a very scary player, and he's one of the best players in the world. So he's actually scary. So seeing him benched, I think, gave a bit more relief. And also having Rafinha fully fit, Pedri was also fully fit, and the lineup that Flick brought, I think that was it was pretty cool, good to see. I think it was a very good 11 from Flick's end to use for this game, and we saw like it kind of worked out. It kind of worked out because we saw that he chose Lewandowski over Ferran as striker, and Lewandowski got a goal. So I think that was very good on Flick's end, and. I mean, I think it was a pretty entertaining game. I think from a neutral perspective, it was probably very, fun to watch. But as fans of either side, I think it was probably very stressful.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the lineup. I think it was really similar to the one we played out against Athletic Bilbao. And coming off the 5-0 win, we had a lot of momentum because I think this is our 10th straight win in a row. So yeah, I mean, that lineup against Bilbao is kind of similar. Instead of Rooney, though, it was Yamal, and obviously instead of Ferran Torres, we got Lewandowski, and we saw the impact that Lewandowski made. Yeah, but yeah, I think just going into this game, obviously, I think both teams were kind of setting up in a back three formation when they were in possession. So it just felt like they were both weak defensively, but at points like Madrid obviously played like Tchouaméni at center back, so that's not his strongest position, and also Asensio, who kind of had a poor game along with Hoyson, and was kind of shocked that he kind of got like subbed out and kind of had a poor game. But I do think both defenses were kind of really weak. But that starting 40 minutes for Barca, I think we really dominated. We had the most possession and stuff. We had many chances, but still it felt like Madrid were kind of trying to play, I guess, counter attacking football and kind of sit back and kind of soak in the possession as much as they could. And then once they got that one chance, they would set either like Vinny or Gonzalo Garcia off on a counter attack. But it seemed like that was their only way to make a chance. It seemed like they couldn't break through our like press and stuff. But it did feel like even though we had a lot of the ball, it just felt like they could easily score another goal. And I think in that starting 40 minutes, we thankfully got a good lead. We saw that first Rafinha goal. I mean, what a goal! Even like 30 seconds before that goal he scored, he had like a really similar chance, and he kind of like missed it, kind of straight it wide. But obviously, we know a player like Rafinha, he doesn't give up. He kind of keeps trying, and then the same kind of chance, he kind of dribbles through. And I always see like this finish, like he has like a low driven finish, always like in the bottom corner. I think he really like prefers that with his left foot, and I think that's one of his strengths, to be honest. But yeah, what a finish from him! Really hard chance to score from, like, especially against like a keeper like Courtois. So yeah, really good goal from Rafinha, and just shows his importance for this team. Um, but yeah, after that chance, I feel like we really had to like see the half out as much as we could. But then we saw that crazy Vinicius goal. I think again, really disappointed from Kunde. I really don't know like how he's getting cooked like this. To be honest, like he got cooked so many times during this game, and especially for that goal, like he got magged, he got dribbled past easily, and then Vinny, who hasn't scored in I think like 20 games, he let Vinny score his first goal in like 20 games. So again, really just really disappointing from Kunde, and especially our defense in general. I think we could have prevented that first goal slightly better. And I don't think João Garcia is to be blamed there, because I don't think he can do too much there when like Vinny's right in front of goal. But yeah, I think after that goal was conceded, I think Barca were like, I think at that point Barca should have been winning, but I think it was kind of fair for both teams to be drawing. But I really did like the response from Barca. Like they didn't give up, even though halftime was looming. They kept going and they tried to get that second goal. And we did see that second goal with Lewandowski. Again, another great ball from Pedri. What an assist from him. And then, yeah, those runs from Lewandowski where he just finds the space, he kind of runs the small channels. And I think that was a mistake from Huijsen, because he kind of let Lewandowski have that space. And once you give that Lewandowski an open chance at net, he almost guaranteed scores. So again, what a kind of chip finish from him, really like solid finish from him. And just a great striker's goal from Lewandowski. And I think he was really like decent today, especially in his hold up and kind of finishing. But then again, like after that point, I was going to have, because there was only supposed to be 3 added minutes, but I think there was like 7 minutes played in total, especially with the goals and all that. And again, I thought after that Lewandowski goal, I think we'd go in half leading with 1 goal. I think that would have been pretty decent to go into the second half with. But unfortunately, we saw that crazy, like weird corner goal from Madrid. Again, I think that was pretty lucky from Madrid's part. I don't think like the defense. I mean, the defense could have done better, but again, it's just unfortunate goal to concede. Again, like I think Huijsen was the header, kind of hits Rafinha and then hits the post and then comes back in, and Gonzalo Garcia just kind of finishes off the crossbar and in. Again, a really like scrappy goal, but I mean, Gonzalo Garcia gets that goal for himself. But I do feel like we should have gone to that half being 1-0 up, especially when like we know that Mbappé or someone like that could be subbed on later in the half. So having a lead as much as possible in the game would have been really important. But yeah, I think going into the half 2-2, I don't think that was the best half. I think it was pretty frustrating, because I did feel like that first 40 minutes from Barca, we were really dominating. We should have been like a couple goals ahead, to be honest. But yeah, what were your thoughts about that?
I think the first half, I think like Barca were good at keeping possession, but I think Barca were also playing kind of like, I feel like very passive, and also I don't think I think a lot of the passes were kind of sloppy from, I don't think both sides, but like let's look at Barca's. I think Barca had like a lot of sloppy passes, giving away possession too easily at times, and yeah, I also think with Lamine, because I think Lamine had the ball quite like a lot of times, especially in the first half. I think he held onto the ball a bit too much sometimes, and when he did that, he kind of lost the ball, and I think that just killed Barca's ability to create more chances. And I saw Barca playing super, again, like passive, like holding onto the ball, passing back a lot. So, you know, it felt like Barca weren't going to score until later on. But then, you know, as you said, Barca were able to find, like, I guess that opening with Rafinha. He had that one chance which he missed, but then after he scored, he scored after. So I think that goal, it jump started the game. after that, a lot more happened. A lot of goals happened, and I think even like before the Rafinha goal, Madrid had like they had like pretty some other good chances. Like Vini had that one chance where he was running and then he was able to get a shot off, but it was kind of a weak shot and drunk, so it was easy to save that. So I think Madrid definitely had chances, and yeah, I don't know. I just think Barca defensively, just especially in the first half, I think we're kind of shaky because I think Madrid were getting chances too easily. And then you also mentioned with the Vini goal, Koundé, and yeah, I think Koundé didn't do good enough to defend. I mean, we know that Vini is a very good player, but we also know that Koundé, he used to be the best defensive right back in the world. I would say last season he was, and seeing them lose like that to Vini on 1-on-1, I think it's kind of raises questions because what happened to Koundé? Because he used to be so good defensively, he was able to lock down players, and he's locked down Vini before in other games. And then he messed up, today and gave away a goal. And I think Madrid getting a goal, I thought they were going to gain a lot more momentum from that. Because, Vinny, he's hyping up the fans, and, they just equalized. So I think scoring a goal like that could have gave Madrid momentum. But, luckily Barca were able to turn that around and get the goal for, and you mentioned the Lewandowski goal. I think that was an amazing finish and a great pass from Pedri. I think Madrid today were pretty weak with through balls or like passes like that. I noticed a few times that their defense was kind of too spaced out. So I think Barca could have also could have scored more if they played better through balls, because a lot of the balls that Barca played were just too short where the Madrid defense just get it. So I think if Barca were doing better at that, I think Barca could have actually scored more goals than they did. But that didn't happen. But yeah, I just noticed that Madrid kind of pretty weak defensively from through balls like that. And I mean, we kind of saw that the first two goals that Barca scored came from that. So yeah, and yeah, the first half itself was pretty intense. There was 4 goals, 3 of them in added time, and I think the reason that the added time went on for longer than it was supposed to is just because in between the goals, a lot of times wasted, celebrating and also like resetting the play, like resetting the game and all. So yeah, I mean, I think crazy for first half. I think the second half, the game, I felt like it died down a bit, but also I don't know, it's a very weird second half. I think both sides were very. I would say I was kind of nervous watching it. I felt like whoever's scoring the next goal is going to win the whole game, and that there's really no room for comeback. But yeah, I think the second half was also just, I don't know, I think Barca didn't do the best. I mean, the goal that Barca scored in the second half, I think it was a bit lucky, but I don't know, I feel like Barca kind of struggled a bit more in the second half, but I don't know.
Yeah, even like going back to the first half for a bit, like even those 2 goals that we conceded from Vini and that Gonzalo García goal, I think both of them could have been really prevented, especially like that second goal, because we could have it was just a corner. I think we could have defended a bit better and like held that 2-1 lead to go to the half. But yeah, you mentioned the second half. Again, I don't think both sides really played well. I think both sides were playing pretty like chaotic and just not really smooth and fluid. But I do think, yeah, you mentioned the third Rafinha goal. It is a bit fortunate. I think, again, Rafinha, he just kind of hits the shot, but thankfully hits off Raúl Asensio, who was on a yellow card. So it was kind of important to target that side of the defense for Madrid. But I do think that Rafinha goal was slightly fortunate, but thankfully it went in. And, at that point, it was like really important to hold that lead because, 73rd minute, you have the 3-2 lead, and especially Mbappé coming on. So, you have to hold on to that lead, and especially in games like Inter Milan last season, where we kind of had that lead, similar type of lead, and we kind of threw it. I think Flick kind of has to learn from that, and obviously today I think he did well. I think he did manage the game well. I think even though Madrid, like at the very end, they had like 2 really good chances for them to score, where they kind of just hit it straight at Joan Garcia. So, again, thankfully Joan Garcia kind of saved both those shots. But again, I don't think our defense was especially good. I think obviously, like in a game like this, I don't like if it's a game like this in the UCL, you never know. Like this same kind of team the same kind of game we could have lost as well, especially if we like didn't get those lucky goals a bit. But I do feel like, I mean, we obviously take this revenge performance. Obviously, like winning the trophy over Madrid is so important, especially like for the momentum going into the rest of the season. I think having a game like this, having like a trophy on Madrid, also obviously, I don't know if you saw at the end, like we saw even Ronald Araujo getting like thrown up in the air, like celebrated, especially because he came on and kind of just did his job for like 5 minutes. So even just for the confidence for the players, I think is really important because obviously even like they lost the first Clásico of this year, so I guess winning a trophy and coming back like this, I think is just really good for the momentum and mentality for the team, especially when we're going to games like in the Champions League where we could play like harder teams, even like on Arsenal or a Bayern, something like that. So yeah, I guess having a win like this just really helps the team. But yeah, on that De Jong red card, I think at first glance I didn't think it was really a red card because it seemed kind of soft, but looking back, I mean, his stud was pretty high, so I do think, yeah, it was a bad decision from Dion, to be honest. But thankfully, it didn't backfire on us, and especially like when I saw Kunde Araujo and then that red card, I really got scared for a moment. I thought we'd maybe even fumble this game and we lose or go to pens, but yeah, thankfully we held on. Thankfully, we kind of defended as much as we could, and we saw the game to the end. So again, yeah, I mean, what a game from us. I mean, thankfully Mbappe really wasn't fully fit. I think if Mbappe was on the whole 90 minutes, I think he would have had a bigger impact. Like even he got the Frankie De Jong to get a red card. So I do think like if Mbappe was playing this game, I think he would have also had a pretty big impact on the scoreline. But I mean, we take what we take because even last of the Clásico, I mean, Barca was really injured, so I guess you can't blame either side for having injuries. But yeah, I mean, what were your thoughts about the overall game?
As I mentioned, like, throughout the entire game, it was stressful, but when Barca led 3-2, and then after the John record, I think it was scary because Barca are down a player, and going down a player is never good, especially a player like De Jong, who I think had a pretty good game. It was it was kind of like you're not sure what's gonna happen, and Madrid were very close at the end. I mean, Carreras was close to scoring, but he hit it straight at Joan Garcia. So yeah, I think Barca did good and kind of keep it like how do I say, winning the game by, I guess, time wasting, not just holding on to the ball, because you mentioned the Inter game how Barca didn't really do that, and they had to pay the consequences where Inter equalized and then won extra time. Barca were able to not let that happen and actually held on to the lead and won the entire game. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I think a win like this is definitely very important for Barca going into the season because with the other games that Barca played, like the big games, Barca lost, but this game Barca won. So I think this gives all the players more experience and better confidence going into other games. I mean, I think Barca are a pretty good team, and and Flick's Barca is pretty good at like knockout games and like tournaments. So I think this could be good for the Copa del Rey, also like the UCL, where the Barca are, I think, are pretty good at games like these, where it's like I guess like a knockout type game. So I mean, yeah, I think also this game just shows how important Raphinha is to the team, and also how I think players like Pedri also super important. I think Pedri was very good today, and I still think with the back line, I think it was still kind of shaky. I mean, I think Eric was good, but I feel like Koundé, I think he could have done better today. I think Balde wasn't. I don't think Balde did too much, so I can't. I don't think he was like too outstanding, and I don't think Kubarski was that great either. I just feel like the defense was too weak. So I feel like, again, we keep on putting emphasis, but I think Barca really need like some type of signing, because I don't know how long Barca can get away with this defense, especially going into like later games against more tough teams. I feel like a lot of teams in Europe right now are pretty good at just scoring, so I feel like they can definitely exploit Barca's defense. I think that's just scary when playing the UCL. Like, for example, today Bayern scored like 8 goals. I forgot against two, but they scored 8 goals, which is an insane number.
It was Wolfsburg, yeah.
Yeah, Wolfsburg. I feel like Barca will play a Bayern. I think Bayern's attack is like so scary that you're not sure if Barca can even outscore Bayern, because look how much Bayern's scoring. Even though it's against like a Wolfsburg, I feel like Bayern's attack is still pretty insane. So yeah, I just think Barca need to just improve that, because I feel like the attack it's good. I think Rafinha is definitely clutch at times. I think Lamine Yamal. I think even though I feel like he couldn't have better today, I think he still did a pretty good job. So yeah, honestly, I think it's a satisfying win at the end of the day, and it's a cup, it's a trophy. So I think Barca fans are going to cherish it. I think every player on the squad is cherishing it, and Ron Laporta is cherishing it. So yeah, it's a happy day. But yeah, I mean that's really what I was gonna say. I think both the Super Cup games were very satisfying wins.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think we have to credit Flick. We have to mention Flick because, I mean, the impact he's had since coming to Barca. I mean, even before that, we were really struggling against Xavi. Struggling with Xavi. I think at the tail end of Xavi's tenure, I think we were really not doing so well. I think obviously the Champions League exits and the continuous failures in that type of European and big competition, I think is really demoting. But ever since Hansi Flick came in, he's won 4 trophies in 1.5 years. So what an impact he's had. Last year treble, and then this year again we've gone back to back with the Supercopa. So I mean, so important to win these types of trophies and just keep going with the momentum. And I mean, obviously, right now we're on good track to win La Liga, but hopefully we can just keep going with our form in that competition. And I think the big one to focus on right now is the Champions League because it's been such a long time since we've won it. It's been more than 10 years. So I just don't think we're completely ready to win a Champions League. Yeah, I think we do really need to improve on small things like our defense and at times having those kind of depth signings. I think sometimes in games when sometimes we don't have our star players playing, I think we really fall off massive levels. So I think we need to increase our depth, especially in the transfer market, and also our defensive shape. I think obviously today conceding those 2 goals, if we played a better kind of attacking team, I think we would have conceded way more. But again, our Flick's system is mainly focused on attacking type football. I think he's one of the best attacking managers in the modern era, and I just think that's such a good advantage for him. I think if he is backed more by the board, if we are able to make more signings to suit his system, I think we will thrive a lot more. But yeah, I just think really we need to slightly improve some of our. We need to tweak some of our things, but again, just really big credit to Hansi Flick. I think the impact he's had since coming over to Barca, I think it's just been so good. He's really improved a lot of players. He's kind of given the chances to players like Gerard Martin at center back. He's given chances to Rooney as well when he came, and I think he just had such a big impact on him on the team as well. But yeah, I think such an important game for Barca. I think there will be questions to be asked on Xabi Alonso because it's been 2 straight Supercopa final losses to Barca. I think obviously Madrid themselves are not doing really well so far in the season. I think their biggest game that they won the season has been the Clásico in October, but ever since that moment, I think they've been really shaky and it doesn't seem like they're going to win too much this year. So honestly, I think it's going to be important to see what happens with that situation because obviously Xabi Alonso was kind of their manager that they wanted so bad in the summer and stuff, but it doesn't really seem to be working out. And I've seen a lot of Madrid fans kind of hating on him. So again, a lot of chaos going on in Madrid at the current moment, and a lot of I think just rumors and stuff going on. Even last game when Diego Simeone kind of talked to Vinny, I think there's kind of conflict there, and also there's some conflict between Vinny and Xabi Alonso early in the season. So yeah, I mean a lot of conflict going on with Madrid. I think Barca right now it's just so important just stay focused and continue keeping your head down, kind of trying to focus on each game that comes up in between. But yeah, any other thoughts about everything?
I guess I'll talk about my man of the match and also just the players I think I give credit to. So I think everyone's man of the match was Rafinha. With the 2 goals, I think that just won Barca the game. And I think his presence was so important because he was very, he was running the entire time he was on. He was non-stop pressing. He was always trying to look for the goal, and I think he just led the team and just gave 200%. So I think he had a very good performance, and I guess also give credit to players I think Pedri was amazing today. People probably don't know. People probably don't notice as much because he's not on the goal scoring sheet, but he's on the assist. But he's on the goal scoring sheet, but he controls the game so well, and I think when Barca had to hold on possession, I think he did it very well. So I'll give credit to Pedri. And I think Joan Garcia, I think made like, even though they were kind of like quite straightforward saves, I think those saves are just still important. And you never know, a lot of keepers can be like very error prone, but Joan Garcia's not really one of them. He like rarely makes mistakes. So he was, I think today he'll be able to, make some pretty important saves. And I'll just say like the two goals that were scored or conceded by Barca were just unfortunate. I don't think he really can do much. I mean, the Vini goal is just I would blame that more on Kun and Kubarsi for not defending well and letting Vini get a very good shot off. And then, that corner was kind of just an unfortunate goal. Like, I don't know what you can really do there. But yeah, Joan Garcia was good. I think Jiang was also good. Gotta give credit to Lewandowski for the goal, but I feel like besides the goal, I don't think he did anything too crazy. But I think the goal is still important, and I think also he had a good game. I thought he could have been better, but I think he's good. And then, Eric was good. And then lastly, I want to give some credit to Firmino because I think, Firmino was very good at pressing, and at times where he was pressing, he won the ball, and that led to Barca having some chances. And yeah, I guess that's all I have to see for like the players. I guess for Madrid side, I would say like I think Vini was pretty scary. Him and Rodrigo were just scary for Barca's attack. I think they're kind of toying with Barca's defense at a point of dribbling and just doing stuff. So I mean they were definitely scary. I was surprised Mbappé didn't come on earlier. I thought Mbappé is just a scary threat, but I guess his injury kind of limited his minutes. And yeah, I mean Courtois made some pretty good saves, but Barca were able to get 3 past him. And yeah, I guess that's all I can say for Madrid side because I don't think they were too impressive. I think Jude got outclassed by Pedri and De Jong today. So yeah.
Yeah, I do think for Barca side today, I mean, obviously our man of the match is Rafinha. I think in these types of big games, he's so clutch, especially like last season we saw Bayern and especially like all those games against Madrid. I think he scored or assisted in almost every single one of them. So yeah, just in these types of big games, he's so clutch. I think he kind of carries his team forward, even though if we're struggling a bit. I think he just pushes the whole team to continue going, and I guess like fight for the win. So I mean, yeah, he's just I feel like he's our captain at the moment, and he's just so good and so clutch. But yeah, I think he's my man of the match. I think honorable mention to Lewandowski. I think that goal was really really well taken, and I think just obviously like Lewandowski is 37 years old, so I don't think he's gonna have that much like impact physically. But I just feel like in those types of moments, like whenever we need him to finish the goal, I think having him like that is just really important. And again, signing a profile like him in the summer window could be really really useful. But I think also honorable mention to Pedri. I think he was controlling the game really well, and especially that assist to have that vision to find Lewandowski so well. Again, so credit to him. And also with De Jong, I think before that red card, I think he was also really really good. He deserves an honorable mention because I think he was also controlling the game really well. I think he had a couple tackles where he won the ball back, so really important. And you mentioned Yamal. I think Yamal was kind of frustrating today. I expected a bit more from him. I think at the start of the game, he's trying to do too much. He's trying to dribble a bit too much, kind of not making the right decisions. And at times it felt like Carreras was kind of getting the better of him. So, but I think as the game progressed, I think he had a lot more chances. I think he got better, but especially with that dribble where he almost dribbled the whole team and kind of tried to put a cross in. But I think that was his best play of the game from Yamal. But I do feel like he could have done slightly better, kind of got a bit more involved. I think in these types of games, we're noticing that like he's getting really isolated, and at times it feels like he's not getting the ball enough, and he's not not taking his man on enough because there's always like either 2 or 3 defenders on him at every time, at every moment. So it feels like like he has to kind of adapt his game to kind of suit like this kind of 3-man press or 2-man press at every single moment. And I think one player I want to mention, like Balde, I think he could have had a bigger impact, especially in that Supercopa final last year. I think he had a much better like impact. He scored that goal. I think he was just holding that flank down. But I think today he didn't really have that much of an impact going forward. At least I think defensively he was pretty decent, but just attacking wise, I don't think he was doing as well as he could. Especially as we know, like he always overlaps with Rafinha, so I didn't see him like do that too much this game. But I mean, just overall credit to the team. I mean, grinding out this result like in the last 10, 15 minutes, I think is really important. And again, yeah, winning a trophy like this, especially in this part of the season, is just so important. And this is our 16th Supercopa in our history. So again, credit to Flick and the players. So really good to see. And especially it's over Madrid. So I mean, it's a psychological matter. It's going to help us in the rest of the season in La Liga and Europe. So I do feel like this could be a turning point in the season under Flick, and especially like that. There's three results in a row: the Espanyol game where we won 2-0, the 5-0 against Bilbao, and then now the Clásico final. Winning all these games, I think, is going to be really good for the team's mentality going forward. And yeah, what do you think about like Madrid going forward and also Barca in Europe this season?
Yeah, so I guess for Madrid, I mean, I saw these Xabi Alonso talking about how the Super Cup's not an important tournament. So I feel like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like part of me is saying like he's saying that just because he lost. I feel like if he won, he probably wouldn't have said that, like word for word. But I guess like, with that, I think you can see that I guess Xabi probably wants to prioritize things at the UCL maybe more, because I think he knows that Madrid as a club demand trophies like the UCL. So I feel like maybe we're gonna try to put more energy into that. So I think that's what I guess Madrid want to do. But I feel like tactically Madrid are a very confusing team right now, because with Mbappé, I feel like Mbappé in the team kind of changes how Madrid play compared to when he's out of the team. I feel like Mbappé takes a position that it might make Madrid a bit weird overall as a team, because I feel like he kind of like plays Vinny. He's like a left winger, and then Vinny's also a left winger. So when they play together, it can be a bit weird. So and I feel like for Madrid, they needed someone like a proper striker, and they have Gonzalo Garcia, who, I mean, he scored today, and also he scored a hat trick for Betis. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're kind of confusing, and I don't know what kind of lamp they're going to try to like stick with, because I feel like rotating lineups too often might be the best thing. I feel like having like a good idea of like most players like staying in one position, I think that kind of makes your team better, because they can keep on playing that same team, and then just strengthening that team specifically instead of having many different lineups, different games. So yeah, I feel like Madrid is kind of confusing tactically, and I don't know how they're really going to line up. I feel like it's kind of confusing, because I feel like you can't really bench either Mbappé or Vinny if they're both fit, because they're both very good players. And even though Vinny's kind of had I would say a dip in form, because I feel like he hasn't been as good. I think we saw like today, Vinny, he can show up, and when he shows up, he's a very scary player. So I mean, yeah, I'm not sure about Madrid. I mean, I don't know. I think I'll honestly, I don't think they're too strong of a team right now in Europe. I feel like there's a lot of more strong teams in Europe, like Arsenal, Bayern. I think even City, even though they've kind of in their recent form, they haven't really won. They've drawn a lot. Even they did win their FA Cup game, but I think even City are a stronger team than Madrid. So I don't know. I feel like I think Madrid right now are kind of a weird team. I feel like this season I don't know. I don't see them right now. Like right now, I don't see them as like strong contenders for the UCL. I just feel like there's better teams that are more consistent that I think can easily knock out Madrid. So we'll see what happens with that. And I guess with Barca's next game is a Copa del Rey game. There's racing, and I think the Copa del Rey is also a pretty important competition. I think, Copa del Rey is like usually Barca's competition. Like Barca's pretty good at the Copa del Rey. So I guess that's a game to look forward to. And I mean, that's really all I guess I have to say. I feel like I think today, I think it's kind of hard to focus on the future right now. I feel like the trophy win is like a lot to think about. I feel like that the trophy win was like, pretty amazing, and that game was just like so much I guess emotion to the game. I feel like it's kind of hard to look in the future right now. And also, I feel like with this game, it can be definitely. I feel like it can be an outlier, because I don't think Barca are gonna normally play like this. I feel like Barca just played weird. I feel like Barca played like this specifically against like Madrid. I feel like with both times Barca played Madrid this season, it was kind of like this type of game. But we saw versus Bilbao, Barca played so much better. So I feel like versus Madrid, Barca will play some type of way, but I think against other teams, I think Barca will play different. So yeah, I think that's just the effect of the El Clásico.
Yeah, going back to the Madrid point, I do agree with you. Like, it seems like they don't have a really set lineup, and today, especially, like they went back to their three back, which they tried to do in the Club World Cup in preseason. So I do think like Xabi Alonso, like especially like he played at three back at Leverkusen, so it doesn't feel like he really knows like what his ideal lineup is. And of course, like players like Trent and Carvajal are missing for him, so he doesn't have an out and out right back to play at the moment. So he's playing like a player like Valverde at right back at the moment. So it does feel like Madrid at this point is kind of harsh on them because especially on Xabi Alonso because he doesn't have I guess all of his players at his helm. So I mean, looking at Madrid, I don't think they're going to really do anything too much this season. I do think it's going to be a bit of transition for them. And kind of, I think the only thing they're going to be competing to try in is going to be the La Liga because, again, I think it's still pretty close. Even though we have a bit of a lead right now, I think they still do have a chance to come back a bit. So I mean, I think that's the only thing that they're going to compete for this season. I think, again, if like they play this kind of formation with like unknowns such as like Vinny and like Rodrigo and Mbappe, like the three left wingers. So it doesn't feel like they can really like support an attack like that with all three of them playing at the same time. So it does feel like, in the summer a decision is going to have to be made. Like there were rumors about Rodrigo leaving before and like how he was benched almost of this whole season except for like the last month where he started getting game time. But it does feel like one of them is going to leave soon. Whether I don't think Mbappe is going to leave, but I do think most likely Rodrigo, perhaps even Vinny could leave this summer. I mean, there are rumors, so I do think for the balance of Madrid's team, I do think one of them will have to leave to, I guess, kind of free up some space because they do have players like Mastantuono and like Goulet who were on the bench today, and I feels like having those three attackers at the same time, it kind of conflicts with each other, and like it kind of prevents players like Goulet and Mastantuono to develop and I guess play and get used to the Madrid setup. But again, yeah, I just don't think Madrid are going to do too much this year, especially like the tournaments. But I do think going to Barca, I think the main thing, like I know attacking wise, we're like really really good. We're one of the best teams at going attacking wise, but I think the main thing we've always mentioned, like for the past two seasons with Flick, I think is the defensive issues. Even in that 5-0 win against Bilbao, we still saw like Bilbao could have scored like 2 or 3 goals. So again, we can't just leave like these types of games to luck. I think we have to control our games and control the amount of chances we concede. So again, in these types of games, as we mentioned, like if this is a UCL semi-final or final, if we concede goals, like you never know. Like those two last chances that Madrid had, they could have converted those, and we could have easily lost this game as well. So, again, I feel like just controlling the defense, I think it's going to be the main problem for Flick. I think creating a defensive system that kind of supports the players and kind of doesn't leave them as vulnerable as they are in this kind of formation and this high line is going to be as important as the most important thing. So again, yeah, I do think like going into forward in the season, I think this cup win has given a lot of momentum for Barca. I think we do have a lot of chances to, I guess, now go on and put more, I guess, focus into the bigger competition. So hopefully you carry on our momentum. I mean, we're unbeaten in 2026, and it's I think 10 unbeaten straight wins. So hopefully, I mean, yeah, we just keep this going. Obviously, yeah, you mentioned our next game is our Copa del Rey game against Santander, who beat Villarreal as we mentioned last video. So again, not a typically easy game. We've seen that against like a team like Guadalajara, who like these small types of teams kind of take it really serious and they try to do as much as possible to win these types of games. So it is going to be really important to continue our momentum and I guess keep just winning, as I mentioned, like throughout the season, like just keep winning every single game, one at a time, and it's just going to be really easy, I guess, to focus on the bigger game. So again, yeah, any other final thoughts?
But the unbeaten thing, yes. There's also the thing about how ever since Messi came to this new spot in Camp Nou, Barca have been undefeated, and I mean, yeah, I guess that's just a cool thing. And yeah, I think Barca definitely looked very strong. I think, especially like getting earlier, I think Barca are like very like I guess shaky. I don't know, Barca are kind of losing some games, but I think the squad's pretty I guess put together. Like all the like most of the players are fit. I mean, we just have still Gavi who's injured, but I think right now like all the key Barca players are fit and ready. And I think with Rafinha, going to the season after coming off this performance, I think it just gives him more more motivation and more chances to prove himself, because he kept on saying how he was kind of like doubting his stay at Barca, how he kind of wanted to leave because he didn't feel important or valued. But then he said when Flick came, that kind of changed, and he felt very important. And Flick told him like he's going to be a key player. So Rafinha knowing that, I think it's just going to make him a much better player with his confidence boosting. And we know when Rafinha's good, he's great. He's Ballon d'Or caliber. So yeah, I think having a player like Rafinha, like at his level, going to the second half of the season, because I think last season was Rafinha. He kind of dipped in form after the Argentina versus Brazil game, but I think if he can keep like his form that he's at right now throughout the rest of the season, I think Barca can do so much better. And him playing left, I feel like with Rashford, because before I was like very keen on Rashford being part of the best Barca 11, but I feel like Rashford, for some reason, he's been missing a lot of like chances, like one-on-one. Like in the game, he could have sealed the game 4-2, but then he hit it wide, and I don't know why Rashford's finishing has gone worse. But I feel like right now Rafinha should be the left winger, because I think that's where he's best at, and I think Rashford has to prove himself a bit more to somehow get a starting spot again. But yeah, I think Rafinha should be like the main left winger for the big games right now, and that's where he's best. And yeah, I think him with this form, he can definitely do a big thing for Barca. And I think also like Gonzalo García is also super key for the rest of the season. I feel like having a keeper like him who can make some unreal saves, and he can just win games by himself by just making great saves. So I feel like he's definitely very important. I guess something I kind of want to highlight, even though it's not too important, is that Barca are close to going to pens in this game, and the thing with Barca and the squad is that they don't really take pens, or haven't really been in a pen shootout outside of like preseason games. So I feel like that would be interesting if there were a scenario where Barca goes in the pen. How Barca will do. I feel like Barca do have some pretty good pen takers. I mean, for like the Spanish players, they play in international games. They've done pen shootouts before. Pedri's good at pens. Lamin's good at pens, and I think Olmo's good at pens. I think Firmino would be good at pens. Bram would be good at pens, and just other players like Lewandowski's good. Rafinha's good. So I feel like that's interesting. Koundé's missed pens. I mean, he also played in the Kings League, and I'm pretty sure he missed a pen there as well. Like, I think that was like a month or something, like a few months ago or something. I don't remember, but yeah, I think that would just be like an interesting thing. So I don't know. I think that if there were to be a scenario, I don't know how confident I would be in some of the players in the pen shootout, but I think Gonzalo García, I feel like he's a keeper who's good at pens. I feel like just like the way I see him play, I feel like his instinct is very good, and he has definitely some good reach. So I think in a pen shootout, I think Gonzalo García could actually be pretty collecting them. So yeah, I guess that's like my final thoughts on that.
Yeah, really just quick question before we end it off. I think you mentioned the Ballon d'Or stuff, and like with Rafinha, I think like even last season, like he really started off on fire and then kind of tailed off at the later parts of the season. I think especially like last season's winner Dembele, he also like really didn't have a great start of the season, but especially in the later parts of the season, the important parts, he started winning and performing in the biggest games. So like, what do you think, like, if let's say we go on to like do really well in the Champions League and we do really well in all our competitions, would you start pushing Rafinha for the Ballon d'Or? Because last season we saw players like Yamal, Rafinha, Pedri kind of get pushed together as a Barca collective, and I think it kind of ruined the chances for one kind of player to win it, similar to what Madrid happened like 2 seasons ago, where Vinny and Bellingham were kind of competing for the same kind of award, and it ended up being Rodri who won it. So yeah, I mean, would you push Rafinha to kind of be our front runner for the Ballon d'Or because of how important he is in these kind of big games against Madrid, and obviously we know how important he is in the UCL. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that really quick?
Yeah, I found it pretty interesting. I feel like with that, I think this season specifically there's so many factors because it's World Cup year, so that has like such a huge weight on the Ballon d'Or. Usually, just what we see in the past World Cups, how the the players that perform in the World Cup, they kind of have a bit more of a, I guess, boost in Ballon d'Or. So I feel like that, like him with Brazil, I mean, if you can do well for Brazil, I think he can definitely get some shouts, but it depends if he does perform for Brazil. But for Barca, I mean, if he performs the big games, like I think yeah, Barca fans and like Barca fans would push for Rafinha, but it just depends that if like it depends on if he does and if he actually is like the best player for Barca. Because I feel like for me, I think Pedri right now is like the most important Barca player, and I feel like with him, Pedri last season was more like I would have pushed for Pedri last season, but I feel like Pedri doesn't have that PR because he's not an attacker, so he didn't get like insane GA. While Rafinha had a lot of GAs and he was performing in a lot of big games. But I feel like if I were to push someone, it would be Pedri because usually he's very consistent and in big games he's usually very good. But yeah, I feel like with Barca has so many good players that usually like it's hard to like single out one to push for a Ballon d'Or. I feel like a lot of them can be argued for a Ballon d'Or. Like last season, I think Pedri, Lamine, and Rafinha were all Ballon d'Or caliber. So it's very hard, and it's kind of hard like on a personal level to pick one to win the Ballon d'Or because you feel like all of them deserve it. And yeah, I guess with this season, it just depends on who performs. Like you mentioned, last season Rafinha dipped in form, and that hurt his chances so much because he wasn't playing well. He was getting numbers, but he just wasn't playing well. And I feel like you can tell like something changed ever since that Argentina game. Something changed with him. Well, Lamine was playing out of his mind. He was getting best player in the world shout, so I feel like that helped Lamine's case for the Ballon d'Or like more. And again with Pedri really wasn't getting any like shots because he's not an attacker, and I feel like it's harder to push for a midfielder because not a lot of people watch the full 90s of like even Barca games, so people may not know like Pedri's impact. So I think it's just harder for him. While like a lot of fans just might watch like the scorelines. So yeah, I guess like for your question, right? Like it just depends on how Barca knew the UCL one and like who actually is like who actually performed for Barca in those big games. And I can definitely see Rafinha being one of them. But I can also see Lamine being one and Pedri being one of them as well. So I feel like fans will still be divided if that's the case because there's so many good players on the team that it's hard to just single out one. Because usually when they all are good, like the level between each of them is like pretty close. So it's not like one of them is doing way better than the others. Like when, like with like I guess like MSN, you can tell that Messi was obviously like the best between the trio, even though all three of them were like world class. So I feel like with that, like people would say Messi should be the Ballon d'Or. But I feel like with this, it's not like that. It's just very close. I think all of them are very good at what they do. And again with the World Cup, that's just also another factor. And I feel like with Lamine, Pedri, Rafinha, where it's like Spain versus Brazil, I think Spain have like the higher odds of doing much better in the World Cup. So I feel like if Spain do better, then I think the Spanish Barca players will get like more Ballon d'Or shouts. So yeah, I guess like it's just like the World Cup was probably gonna be like the main thing. I feel like there's a chance that the Ballon d'Or winner is not even a UCL winner this season, and they could just be a World Cup winner. You never know. I feel like it's just so depend on the journalists that vote, so you never really know what they're thinking. It can go like honestly either way. But yeah, what do you think?
No, I do agree with you. Like the case for the Ballon d'Or is going to really depend on like the World Cup this year because like the last couple of years we've seen teams like Argentina and Messi kind of do really well and they won the tournament, so it really pushed Messi to win the Ballon d'Or. And also like when Modric won his Ballon d'Or, he also did really well with Croatia to bring them to the final. So I do think this year's Ballon d'Or is going to be really dependent on the World Cup, but I do think Brazil do have a real shot at doing well in the World Cup, maybe reaching the later stages. So I do think a player like Rafinha does have a really good chance to go up there in the Ballon d'Or rankings. I think especially if Barca do well, they've already won one trophy so far. So I guess if they keep going and maybe win another either domestic treble or another proper treble, I do think it's going to really push a player like him to I guess go up in the Ballon d'Or rankings. But yeah, as you mentioned, I think players like Pedri and Yamal are obviously in contention for Barca's side because they're all just so important in their own way. I feel like Pedri's kind of the goal scorer. Pedri's the kind of the playmaker, kind of the controller, and Yamal's kind of that flary, kind of techie winger that kind of creates so much chances. It kind of has that kind of game-winning impact on him. And then Rafinha is obviously the finisher and obviously that kind of carrier and pressing. So I think, yeah, they all have their kind of similar, like, I guess, unique roles. So I think they're all really important for the team. I think going for like a trophy like the UCL is going to be really important for to have all of them kind of doing really well. So it is going to be really important to have all of them fit and kind of healthy for like the later stages of the season. But I do really think we have a really good shot at, like, doing well in the competitions we're still in the season. So I mean, hopefully we continue our form and, yeah, just continue winning. But going back to today, I mean, just another great win to have over Madrid. I mean, winning 3-2 in Saudi Arabia is just really important. And I do think, yeah, I mean, having that Rafinha brace, the Lewandowski chip, and obviously with players like Vinny on the other side and Mbappe coming on, I do think it was a really difficult game and kind of cagey at the end to win. And especially with like the De Jong red card and, Araujo coming on at the very end. So, but yeah, I do think it's just really important, and really I'm really happy to win this trophy and win this game against Madrid, get our revenge on them. But yeah, overall, I think that wraps it up. Please drop your comments in the comments down below. Let us know who your man of the match was, and did Barca deserve it overall? And what is your confidence level in Flick's team for the rest of the season? And yeah, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow DB Talks on all platforms. And we'll be back soon with some more coverage on Barca and other teams in the Prem. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.